Morning, Kinsey.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
It is Saturday night for me, and I did not drink any alcohol this evening so that I would be nice and perky for this this hit.
Let's have a look at your jumper. What you got on?
I've got on my Princess Kate jumper.
Oh, do you sell them, right?
I do, todiefordaily.com.
And didn't you get loads and loads of people who were interested in those?
Not just interested, they stole them. I mean, I have sold a ton of these, and they're so cute. I made a Christmas one, too, and I think I'm going to make another Christmas one. But
Who stole them?
A bunch of websites. When it went viral, all these websites totally ripped my image, this is mine, off of my website and threw it on a shirt, too. But they also kept my logo on there, which is like, I guess it's free advertising, I guess.
You know, capitalism is brutal, isn't it?
It is. Tough times.
Now, of course, you know, that would be a lovely festive gift, wouldn't it? Of course, for anyone that might want it. And perhaps that would be something that Harry and Meghan could bring along to the royal family at Sandringham, because they have said, I mean, the king must be so thrilled. Camilla, oh, she must be, Queen Camilla must be, oh, she must be doing a jig with excitement, because Harry and Meghan have said that if they receive an invite, they would be prepared to come to Sandringham for Christmas. Praise be, it's a Christmas miracle.
Right. That's right. So this is according to the Daily Mail. It says, this is a source close to the Sussexes, says, I can't imagine the Sussexes would decline an invitation to spend time with His Majesty. As of yet, there have not been any invitations for the holidays. They said it is understood that another phone call between the king and Prince Harry is planned for this coming week, although I don't buy it. And a source close to the couple suggested that they would need both heightened protection to be able to realize any invitation. They added that without a residence in Britain, the Sussexes would also require a formal invitation from King Charles or Buckingham Palace to be able to stay in a residence that has sufficient protection.
Wasn't it Sandringham where Harry was complaining that one Christmas he was given the smallest bedroom on the estate?
Well, here's my thing. I highly doubt that the royal family wants to spend the holidays with Harry and Meghan, because there's probably a strong concern that they're working on a Netflix manuscript for a new movie called A Racist Royal Christmas. You know, like, honestly, you can't tell us 2-3 years ago that this family is just embroiled in racism and then all of a sudden be so eager to spend time with them. Are they these terrible people that you're telling us that they are constantly, or are they not? Because your actions say otherwise. Your eagerness to spend time with them, your eagerness to be associated with them, you know, it negates everything you've said that's negative about them over the last few years.
I'm just thinking that's got Hallmark written all over it. A Racist Royal Christmas. What a lovely, heart-warming movie that would be. Perhaps it could feature an elderly monarch who's done nothing but serve the nation for 70 years, and in the twilight of her life have to listen to two petulant little morons continually trashing her legacy by claiming that the institution that she has served so graciously for decades is completely racist, and perhaps while she is receiving cancer treatment in the run-up to Christmas in this festive movie, they can give a tell-all interview where they completely try and trash her legacy. However, they all get together for Christmas dinner and live happily ever after.
Right. Well, I mean, Rudolph's got to be in there somewhere to make it officially a Christmas movie.
Rudolph, yes, he's famous for his nose, but then again, so is Pinocchio, and perhaps that would be more appropriate.
I love the headline from the Daily Mail, though. It says, Harry and Meghan would accept offer to spend Christmas with the royal family at Sandringham, but are yet to receive an invitation from King Charles. I was like, same. Like, any of us could say that at this point.
Oh, yeah, that's so true. And also, hint, hint, hello. That's a bit desperate, isn't it? You know, I'd love to spend Christmas with you, yet to get an invite. I mean, that is a little bit desperate. As you know, though, I am very much in favour of the Markles because, you know, let's call their family name. They are the Markles. I'm very, very keen on the Markles spending time with the royals, as long as they sign a full non-disclosure agreement. As long as as long as the Netflix, Hallmark, Spotify, whatever crew they've got with them for whatever grift they're doing that week, as long as they stay outside in the car, I don't see why it could go wrong at all. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, I knew you were coming with the non-disclosure agreement. I knew that was on the horizon.
It always is. I'm sorry, they should sign a non-disclosure agreement so that they are legally bound to shut up.
Well, Meghan wants us all to know that she hasn't, so...
Yes, because, of course, she gave an interview, many interviews in the final moments of the Queen's life, saying, oh, she's got more than she could tell, as has Harry. They're a really lovely couple, aren't they?
Yeah, so, you know, I think this next story kind of goes hand in hand with it. Now, Harry and Meghan distance themselves from Omid Scobie's new book. Sources close to the Sussexes deny that they were involved in the biography after extract appears in People magazine here in the States. They say that they have nothing to do with this particular book, and it was important that whoever, you know, their third party contact let the Daily Mail know that, right?
So this is Omid Scobie, who wrote Finding Freedom. This is the new book, which is about the next chapter in the Sussexes' lives, and it was called, what's it called? The name escapes me. It's
called Endgame, but it's not necessarily about the next chapter in Harry and Meghan's life. What we know that it's about is how King Charles is wildly unpopular, according to Omid Scobie, and how Prince William is, you know, I believe the way he describes him is power hungry behind the scenes, almost, you know, a tyrant, if you will. But the Mail Online understands that Meghan and Harry categorically deny any suggestion that they are affiliated with the book or that Mr. Scobie, who has been friendly with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and co-wrote their biography, Finding Freedom, is part of the Sussex camp. I mean, it's really hard to digest that information, aside from what we know about how they forgot that they contributed to Finding Freedom. Omid is one of the first people to this day that has new information about Harry and Meghan. For instance, he was one of the first people to report about their private San Diego, you know, basically faux royal engagement 2 weeks ago. So Omid still clearly has some sort of contact with, if he's not in the Sussex camp, he is clearly familiar with it.
And I mean, this is the crux of the point, is that the previous book, they categorically, this is Harry and Meghan, denied having anything to do with it. They sent out the same denials, Harry and Meghan, that Finding Freedom was nothing to do with them until court papers exposed that they had been contributing via a third party to the content of that book, to which they said, as you rightly just pointed out, that they forgot. I mean, again, and I've said this many times before, but I find it hard to believe that you forget contributing to a best-selling book. But people who are cynical, which of course you and I never are when it comes to Harry and Meghan, we're very, very positive. But cynical people might say, well, look, if they denied contributing to his previous book and were found to have forgotten having done so, then why should we believe that they or someone in their camp hasn't contributed to this one?
I mean, it's just silly to even deny it at this point. It's silly. But there are several people that in the industry that say that this book, piggybacking off the release or off the King's 75th birthday and the release of The Crown, they're describing it as deplorable. I say it kind of genius in the marketing sense. This was probably the best way to go for Omid right before the holidays, right as the crown's coming out. But some royal insiders calling it deplorable.
Well, we will see what is in there, and I think that the content of that book will make it very clear, especially to those people who are on the inside, who are members of the royal family and their associates. The content of the book will make it very clear as to whether Harry and Meghan have contributed or whether they have allowed their friends to contributed vicariously to the book. And however much they deny it, people are going to speculate that they are directly involved based on them being involved in the last one. So it's not a massive stretch to say that. So they have dropped at last one of the most hotly anticipated dramas of the year. It is the final season of The Crown. Well, I say it's the final season. It's the first 4 episodes of the final season. I don't know how many episodes the season is supposed to have. I don't know whether there are another 4 to come or another 6 to come. But the first 4 have dropped, and they are, to not put a finer point on it, very, very Diana heavy. And, well, let's find out what Kinsey Schofield has to say about it. Morning to you, Kinsey, again.
Hi. Yeah, 6 more episodes coming.
So there are 6 coming. So it's not 4 and 4, it's 4 and 6 that are coming.
Yeah, those are coming on December 16th, I believe. December 14th? December 14th?
December 14th.
Yes.
So one of the reviewers in The Guardian, now The Guardian are a bit of a misery paper, they don't really like anything, but they said that the first 4 episodes were so bad, it's basically an out-of-body experience. I mean, it was an absolutely brutal but hilarious review. They said that it was so Diana heavy and they tried to extract so much in these 4 episodes in the last 8 weeks of Diana's life that they were expecting at one point for a ticker to go across the screen like you get in a news channel to say, she's going to die soon. It's coming up.
Yeah.
The tunnel is coming. Yeah. Were they too Diana heavy? What did you think of them?
Yeah, I mean, this Guardian review said this Diana-obsessed series is the very definition of bad writing. Despite the brilliant cast, its crass, soapy dive into the abyss, not least in the atrocious scenes featuring ghost Diana. I think that if you watch it because you like that stuff, this is not an issue for you. I didn't hate it. I did think some of the writing was bad, and I did there's a scene, spoiler alert, where they're watching Jumanji, which I just thought was really cringe, and I didn't love that. I thought it was really cheesy.
Do you not like the moment when they're watching Jumanji, when they're eating popcorn and Diana looks across and Dodie looks across and they lock eyes and they realise over Jumanji that they are falling in love?
No, I did not enjoy that part.
Oh, right. Okay.
But
fair enough.
Yeah, I thought it was, I didn't mind this first 4 episodes. I thought that they were heavy, but I also thought that they were beautiful. I think it's too soon to do after the death of Diana. I think it is hurtful to Harry and William. And I keep preaching on about Harry and William, but I also think it's really unfair for Earl Spencer. I think it's unfair for her sisters. These are all people that are still alive and went through the motions in real life. Her sisters were standing there in that Paris hospital looking at her corpse. I mean, this is heavy stuff that they still remember, that is still heavy on their heart. So as a television viewer, I feel guilty for enjoying certain aspects of the show. And as somebody that studies this family, I think it was in poor taste.
I disagree that the showing of a drama of her death is in poor taste, because we've had the movie. I think it was just called
by the same guy. It's the same guy that keeps doing this.
Yeah, well, there was
Peter
The Queen,
Morgan,
which talks about, that's the movie with Helen Mirren. There is also the movie Diana, or there was also the movie Spencer. There was the movie Diana with Naomi Watts playing her. So it has been done before. This isn't the first time, but also it is. What is it now? Since she died, 26 years.
26.
26 years. So there is a long time between when it happened and today. I think that I really enjoyed it. I mean, I love watching things like that, especially if I've lived through it. But that is probably one of its biggest flaws, in as much as I think that entire period was so dramatic that they didn't need to invent stuff that didn't happen. And there is a particular scene which is spoken about in this review that we've referenced, which is absolutely true, where when they're walking behind the coffin, Prince Philip and Harry and William, and William turns to Prince Philip and says, "Why are they all crying for someone they've never met?" And he turns and he says, "They're not crying for her, they're crying for you." And we know that didn't happen because they did not speak when
we know
they
that didn't happen, but that William has said that publicly. William has said it was so strange to listen to people crying for a woman they'd never met before. Both William and Harry have made that comment publicly in remembering
why
Diane
put it into that moment? Why couldn't that have been put into a conversation in the next episode where he meets Kate? You know, and there was a lot. I mean, I know that people have complained that they tried to eke out these 8 weeks of her life before she died, but then I felt like the episode where it was the aftermath of her death, they tried to just sort of shove it all in there, and they missed out some really key moments. The moments where Harry had to be convinced to walk behind her coffin, and Prince Philip, which would have been a really touching moment, agreed to walk with him in order to have him do that. There was nothing, and I know that the same writer has covered this ground with the movie The Queen, but there was absolutely no reference of the clash between the palace and Downing Street and the Prime Minister, who was also trying.
Earl Spencer. And Earl Spencer. There was a
about
huge fight with Earl Spencer over everything.
What the funeral
also,
should look like.
A huge fight over where she was going to be buried. I mean, that's really interesting to me. I mean, to this day, there are even wild conspiracy theories about how she's not where they say she is, and she's in the private family tomb somewhere. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff left out.
Yeah, and I don't know why they then. What I found a bit bizarre was that they seemed to invent drama that didn't happen when there was plenty of drama that did, which would have been more true to life, but very, very compelling. And that I found, although I enjoyed watching it and I really loved it, I found that to be quite bizarre. And I think you could have done an episode of the aftermath and then an episode on the funeral. I mean, there didn't need to be this sort of aftermath and then all of it fitted into 45 minutes or whatever the episode length was. There was a movie's worth of material, as we've seen before. And I understand the writer not wanting to go over the old ground that he covered in the movie The Queen, but there was plenty of stuff that hadn't been covered that we found out since that could have gone in there, and it wasn't put in there.
Hasnat Khan calling her the day she died, trying to tell her to come home. I mean, there's a lot of that's more like, that's gut-wrenching too, because you're like, maybe that would have changed her direction in any way, shape, or form, and she wouldn't have been in that car at the exact moment she was. And then those kind of details, they make you feel so much more.
Absolutely. There was no reference as well to the. They've cast Bertie Carvel, who's a great actor, as Tony Blair, and he's barely been used when he had a massive part of that, and his speech and the reaction to it, but also the reaction to Earl Spencer's speech in the funeral as well, where he absolutely trashed the royal family, and again, that was a hugely dramatic moment, which their reactions to that and whether that would have made them at all look at themselves and the way in which they were with Diana and the way in which they were after their divorce, and they didn't do any of that. They left all of that out, which I just find that to be really bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I thought a lot was missing too, but at the end of the day, I thought as an entertainment consumer, I thought it was quality television, but as a person that studies this family, I didn't know if it was necessary.
And also, one other point on that, and I think this reviewer made a very good point with it. And it sounds like I'm trashing it, and I really enjoyed it. I loved every second of it. But one of the strengths of the Crown isn't just about the Queen or Diana or one particular person or child or anyone. It's about the entire institution. And one of the things I think that is most fascinating about the series is the way in which the relationship between Palace and Prime Minister has evolved over the years. And, some of the episodes with Thatcher, amazing. Some of the episodes of the affection between the Queen and Harold Wilson, amazing. Winston Churchill in the early episodes, the guidance he gave to the young Queen, absolutely brilliant. But then I think in these later series, one of the things that's missing is that side of it. And none of the relationship between the politics and the palace being exploited in the last two seasons, and especially in these Diana episodes. And I think that the series is lessened because of that.
Well, we'll have to see what happens within the next 6 episodes, because a lot of our complaints, I mean, not the Diana's death complaints, but some of those might be addressed, because you can't build an entire season on William and Catherine going to school together.
Yeah, well, we've got the death of Margaret, the death of the Queen Mother, to come up, the Queen's Golden Jubilee as well. I think that's probably where the series will end, or that will be near the end. I think that those deaths came after that. So anyway, we'll see. Okay, let's talk about some rare criticism for the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton. What is this about?
Well, so I don't see this kind of stuff over here in the States, but Catherine was asked to open the BBC's Children in Need annual fundraiser.
Yes.
And she did a beautiful speech, very eloquent, very beautiful, very graceful. But the complaints are that she was asking for money, asking for donations, while aside from being a millionaire or billionaire member of the royal family, wearing a $400 top. Some of the tweets are a billionaire opening the Children in Need show on BBC, asking Society for donations, tone deaf at BBC. So Kate Middleton, who owns several homes, just popped up on hashtag Children in Need. Last year, it raised about £20 million, or 354 million less than we gave the royals to tart up Buckingham Palace. The hypocrisy is sickening. This is a writer named Dan White. I'm not familiar with him. He tweeted, "I know families of disabled children who have gone without meals so their children can eat. So I take offense when Kate Middleton appears on hashtag BBCIN wearing a 315-pound blouse."
I mean, I don't have any problem with her asking for the donations, because it's
her job.
It's her job. I do think, though, if I was her advisor, I'd say, look, this is an occasion for a high street blouse, because that's a very easy criticism.
My argument is the blouse is no longer available to purchase. You can't prove to me that it's not secondhand. Maybe it was her mom's hand-me-down. Maybe it was Pippa's, and she said, "Hey, that's cute," and Pippa tosses it to her.
Maybe she found it in a clothes donation bin. Oh, come on.
I'm just saying that it's no longer available, so it's not like it's not like it's necessarily brand new.
But I don't think she bought it on Vinted. I don't think she would or was scouring eBay for it. I just would have, if I was her advisor, I would have said, let's get you a blouse from Zara for this one. She'll still look amazing. She's a clothes horse. She'd still look amazing in it. But then the headlines would have been, Kate dresses down in order to, it would have been a bit more positive. So,
well, I do think that the headlines would have still been critical of her, because the majority of the criticism is that she's the one asking for donations. Yeah. And I feel like people like The Rock and Oprah Winfrey going to Hawaii, asking people for donations.
I get it. I do get it. And also, a lot of the people on the BBC asking for the money are probably earning more than any of us put together as well. So there is that juxtaposition with these things. Great to talk to you as always, Kinsey Schofield. Wonderful to have you, our Queen, Kinsey.